Cell division, also known as mitosis, is a fundamental biological process that creates life. The fundamental process of cell division embodies a profound paradox at the heart of creation, where life and death, unity and division, are inextricably intertwined. This contradictory nature of mitosis, where the very act of creation is simultaneously an act of destruction, reveals the dynamic and dialectical essence of life, where oppositions are reconciled and the boundaries between birth and decay are blurred, yielding a majestic dance of transformation that underlies all living things. Division, like death, is inevitable, but in the social microcosm of this idea, our consciousness as humans allows us the ability to choose in what direction we divide and for what purpose. However, due to many of these choices being contrived, this system has been hijacked. In the 1999 film, The Matrix, the main character Neo is offered the choice between a red pill and a blue pill by rebel leader Morpheus. If Neo takes the red pill, he will awaken in the real world, where he is rescued and shown the true nature of the Matrix. And the blue pill is a sedative that would cause Neo to think that all his most recent experiences were a hallucination, so that he can go back to living in the Matrix's simulated reality. No matter what pill he takes and whether he sees the Matrix for what it is or not, the truth remains, he's still in the Matrix. We've discussed these topics in many of our previous videos, and as it relates to the music industry in our industry Kayfabe video. We also defined the concept of Kayfabe in wrestling as it applies to the entertainment industry overall. The easiest way to grasp this confusing concept is to study the industry of professional wrestling. Through this, we can begin to unpack some of the concepts borrowed in the sports and entertainment industry. Concepts such as manufactured feuds and rivalries. In my Toxic Plasma series, I touched on the rapper Drake and his connection to the numbers 3, 6, and 9. I will delve further into this while explaining the concept of Gematria. I alluded to his connection to rapper Kendrick Lamar through his line, Holly Berry or Hallelujah. Pick your poison. Tell me what you do. I believe with Kendrick being the more conscious artist of the two, this was meant to foreshadow their beef that has been brewing for a decade, asking the viewing audience to pick their poison between the two rappers. And some of you might think that's a reach, as there would be no way to possibly know any of these things would take place, right? Before we get into the next part of the video, I believe it's important to note that many of our top NASA scientists, intelligence, and military personnel are occultist, as mentioned in the Patreon-exclusive Bacchanalia Part 3. In fact, many declassified CIA documents show that the agency is very interested in the study of things considered spiritual and metaphysical in nature. Furthermore, the movie The Exorcist was based on a true story of a possessed child who went on to work for NASA later in life. This, plus the occult symbolism and references used by the NRO, make these connections overt and quite interesting, especially considering that those providing us with our scientific narratives are openly practicing occultism, which many in the general public would consider mystical or pseudoscience, with a mixture of predictive programming, astrology, and gematria. I believe it's possible this occult knowledge may provide us with some insight on how and why they craft storylines, and even predict some beforehand, as these narratives seem to be on sort of a loop or cycle. One of these contrived narratives on a loop is the idea of commercialized rap beef. Around every 5 to 6 years, hip-hop is presented a rap beef that involves two rappers where one is a more fun, loving, maybe even shallow, materialistic artist, while the other is more grounded, artistic, or conscious. In the 90s, we had Biggie and Tupac. In the 2000s, we had Jay-Z and Nas. Around 6 years later, we have 50 Cent and Kanye West. And today, we have Drake and Kendrick Lamar. It's obvious to me these beefs are storylines, as every rapper on the conscious polarity of these beefs have all depicted themselves as Jesus at some point in their career. There's also a David and Goliath archetype element involved, as they are all in shorter stature than their adversary, and all considered the victors of these battles. Even if we swap out Kanye in the 50 Cent feud with Ja Rule, the same rule applies, with the exception being that he's not widely considered the winner of their feud. Another thing that became obvious to me is the 369 pattern I referenced in relation to Drake can be applied to every beef and rapper I just named. It's also possible these beefs can double as a sort of shame ritual, which is often used in many cults. All these beefs have been presented as genuine conflicts with the exception of Kanye and 50 Cent's feud, which was an obvious and admitted promotional stunt. Although it's possible these artists genuinely do not like each other, the beef itself is manufactured for the audience's consumption. In professional wrestling, this is called a worked shoot, with a work meaning something fake and a shoot meaning something real. A perfect example of a worked shoot is the situation between the wrestlers Matt Hardy and Adam Copeland, who goes by the wrestling name Edge. The two wrestlers who were initially friends and had their relationship severed once Matt discovered Adam was having an affair with his then-girlfriend while he was out with an injury. This led to conflict between the two, and the genuine disdain was then used in a wrestling storyline feud between the two.
The behind the scenes of the business was starting almost to become as important as the in front, right? And a backstage relationship that wasn't played out on camera, but that everybody knew could be an explosive storyline if done right. So we're not going to tell the guys in the back, because the guys in the back, if they see that it's just a storyline, they go tell their buddies or whatever, yeah, no, it's just a storyline, and then it's all over the internet.
Look out! Oh, wait! I ended up showing back up and coming through the crowd. Edge and I were in like a brawl. The punches that I threw around here were very, very hard.
Part of me was like, okay, here, get your shots in. Get some here, and let's move past it, as much as we can.
Alan, you bastard! I'm gonna make your life miserable! And Lena, you whore! I'm gonna make your life miserable too!
Oh wait, that's not Edge, that's Adam? I mean, we didn't do that before very many times. So when you hit and call somebody by their real name, it's almost like the shock value. Oh wait, that's not supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen.
It's also a possibility that a worked shoot is really just a work in disguise with no genuine conflict at all. But let's play devil's advocate, as we can see it in a context similar to not liking a coworker, but still having to work in tandem with them to achieve your company's goals. Gematria is a system of assigning numerical value to words and phrases, based on the idea that words with the same value are related in some way. It is primarily associated with the Hebrew language, where each letter has a corresponding numeric value. In occultism, gematria is often used as a method of divination or interpretation. By calculating the numerical value of a word or phrase, practitioners believe they can uncover hidden meanings or connections between words. This can be used to gain insight into the essence of a word, to find symbolic patterns or links between different concepts, or to reveal hidden messages in texts. Gematria is also used in rituals and ceremonies, where specific words or phrases with significant numerical values may be incorporated to enhance their power or symbolism. Some occultists believe that by harnessing the power of these numerical values, they can tap into the underlying energies and forces of the universe. This gives us some insight on an alleged quote of inventor and scientist Nikola Tesla that states, "If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe." Now let's go back to the rap beef loop I mentioned earlier. I said that the 369 pattern can be associated to every rapper mentioned, and even any associated concepts, phrases, people, song, and album titles. So many that I will not be able to mention everyone in this video. Maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 of these are a coincidence, but this was bizarre. So let's start with the number 18, as 3, 6, and 9 make the number 18. So this is not considered a reach. We will be using English gematria for this exercise, but similar patterns are also found in Hebrew. For example, the word Central Intelligence Agency gives us the number 1458, and when you add these numbers together, you get 18, which equals 9. What also gives us the number 1458 is Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, which equals 18 and 9 once reduced. If we connect this to the storyline, the number 18 can also give us many phrases like, "not like us," and "all eyes on me." Even if you spell eyes with a Z, as shown on the album cover, you still get a reduction of 6. But if we go back to the number 18, you will see many connections to this Kendrick and Drake rivalry. This number also pops up in association to the previous rivalries mentioned as shown in these examples. I've even tried throwing in random unassociated rappers and phrases to see if maybe it's just a matter of mathematical probability, but this was not consistent. Another number that we'll see consistently pop up is 15. The final number that appears frequently to complete our triangle is the number 12, which makes 3. So we see that some of these phrases even match exactly, bridging the gap between the storylines. So, okay. 3, 6, and 9 show up quite a lot, but what does this even mean? I believe it's connected to the ancient occult practice of using magic squares and talismans. A magic square is a square grid of numbers where the sum of the numbers in each row, column, and diagonal is the same. These grids have been studied for centuries for their mathematical and mystical properties. In occultism, magic squares are used as symbols in rituals and spells. Each number in a magic square is thought to have a specific significance or energy associated with it. By arranging numbers in specific patterns, it is believed that practitioners can harness this energy and align themselves with the forces of the universe. Magic squares are also sometimes used in divination or as talismans for protection or empowerment. They are thought to have the power to attract or repel certain energies, depending on the arrangement of the numbers. Overall, magic squares are seen as powerful tools for accessing the hidden mysteries of the universe and harnessing their power for various purposes. Now, if we take all the numbers that are associated with everything in this particular storyline, we will notice they are all multiples of 3, with one extra space. Since we can see these are multiples of 3, we can predict the next number in this space will be 27. And with this series of numbers, we can actually create a magic square. This would add up to the sum of 45 in any direction, which gives us 9, the number of completion, and in Gematria this number is significant. In Hebrew, Gematria 45 can mean to dam or be blood or red-colored. To sparkle. It can also represent the land of Edom as well as the father of the race of Edom, with the Edomites believed to be the descendants of Esau. The Edomites had a long-standing history of conflict with the Israelites, including wars with King Saul and King David. In occultism, the number 45 has various meanings depending on the context and tradition. In sacred geometry, 45 is a key angle in the construction of the seed of life and the flower of life, symbolizing the harmony and unity of the universe. In numerology, 45 reduces to 9, which symbolizes completion, wisdom, mastery, and spiritual growth. In some Masonic traditions, 45 is associated with the 45th problem of Euclid, which represents the unity of the square and the circle, symbolizing the harmony of opposites. And in chaos magic, 45 is sometimes used as a sigil number for manifesting change and transformation. Magic squares can also be created with words. And if we ascribe a letter to each number in our square, we can make the word florisic, which is a name that means flower. And when we look up what flowers represent in occultism, we will see some similar themes that tie to the overall themes discussed. However, this may be a coincidence. But if we tie it to some of the Masonic Christian themes already discussed in this video, it also represents symbols of transformation and the harmony of opposites. The Rosy Cross is a symbol of Christian alchemy and mysticism associated with the Rosicrucian order. The rose symbolizes silence, while the cross signifies salvation. I've noticed numerical patterns in many other storylines as well, and I may create a separate series to explain this in a deeper context in the future. Comment below if you're interested in seeing more videos like this one.